We take refuge in God from the cursed Satan. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. With class number 46 of emotional intelligence, we will continue as we are reaching very important points. Things that are proving to be very useful for changing our lives for the better. Very well. We have said that we have a biometric cycle that helps us have a positive or negative life. We have said that emotional life, as well as physical bodily life, and intellectual cycles, each affect one another. So you can analyze your state like your cycle also. What cycle am I in today? Let's learn to analyze it so that we can understand in each cycle, at each moment, in each situation, what decisions you should make and what decisions you should not make. When you are emotionally negative, saving is not the time to bring up your last fight with your husband. Now is not the moment. When you are emotionally negative, it is not the time to open your mouth. When you are irritated, it is not the time to start a dialogue. Go do something physical. Everything depends on how you can analyze and understand what you are now. Know that each I is different. I am now in a positive emotional state, a negative physical state, and a positive intellectual state. I am me, for example. And then in a negative emotional state, negative physical state, negative intellectual state, it could be me B. So I have abilities that I do not have when I am in state B. And this I, when I am in state B, have things to do that I cannot do when I am in state A. These are very important things, but unfortunately a person, oh what a pity, my husband was so angry yesterday, so nice, so good, and now he is feeling so bad. It's not bad. He is another person. He is something else. You must understand it. Emotional intelligence makes you realize that people in different situations are different. They are different in their receptiveness. You must understand, comprehend. An emotionally intelligent person already knows how to treat others by carefully analyzing the state of each person. That is how they will be as a person. That person is understanding, very good, and very tolerant. That person knows how to handle others. Does everyone love you? Want to be with you? Want to be by your side? Do you understand? So let's look at the cycle. We have mentioned positive, emotional, negative. Physical, positive, negative. Intellectual, positive or negative. 2 states here, 2 states in body, 2 states in intellect, 2 times 2 times 2. How many states are we going to have? 2 times 3, you are going to say 2 times 2. How many states? 8 states. This means that each person can be in 8 different states. Let's go through them one by one. You put, let's say, emotion to yes. Let's see. As here we have placed the body, we have placed in the emotion, we have placed B. In the intellectual, we placed C, A, B, C. So, a positive and negative. B positive. B negative means emotion. Emotional cycle and also intellectual cycle. You put C positive, C negative. You sand, so the body can have a positive state, B positive emotions, positive C, positive intellect, positive. It is the first state, the best at this moment. It is the time to ask a girl for her hand. She says yes. If you can change a girl's state to a positive, B positive, C positive, everything you say, she says yes. But as soon as your husband is in a negative state, B negative, C negative, you are lost. You are lost. And he doesn't even pay attention to you anymore. So, for example, let's look at the biometric cycle of a person who is 100% positive. When the positive body, positive emotion, and positive intellect are present, That person is receptive, willing to solve family problems, negotiate, engage in dialogue, make serious decisions, and do everything well, positively, without prejudice and without harm. That is what is important. One will not make hasty decisions because the intellect is positive, active, and sees everything in a very optimistic way. It has an optimistic outlook because emotionally it is positive and the body functions well. The person can have patience, endure, and has enough strength to carry out all activities. But well, the same person, after a series of physical activities, will reach a state that we call state number 2. State number 2 is negative. The body is already tired, but the positive emotion is that you are playing soccer and everything has been very cool, very nice, very good. Emotionally, it is positive, even more positive. It means if it was B positive, now it is double B positive. Do you see it? The body is tired. Then the positive emotion and the positive intellect. You haven't received any problems, nor an emergency call, nothing. You are happy, not even your mother-in-law has called you, everything is going very well. So, in the second state, the body is tired, but you are ready for other things. This means you are willing to engage in activities that are not physical, but you still have enough emotional and intellectual energy to continue. But well, let's suppose that one morning you wake up, or the same person wants to get into football. The body is positive, the intellect is positive. But suddenly, someone comes to insult you. They come to insult you. When you are about to receive an offense, an insult, you feel emotionally humiliated and become negative. The body is positive, the intellect is positive, but the emotion remains negative. We call this state 3. The negative emotion, the positive body, the positive intellect, the negative emotional state. It says, oh, I don't feel like playing anymore. Do you have the energy to play soccer? Yes. Why don't you do it? I don't feel like it because I'm emotionally not well. What do you want? I want them to help me recover my emotional state and transform my emotional state from a negative state to a positive state. So in this third point, you say that if you don't react negatively, you will become a more pessimistic and emotional person. It's worse than if emotions dominate both. Intellectually, you feel bad, and physically, you become pale. There are people who become nervous emotionally, feel unwell, start to tremble, turn pale or yellow, and even faint. Imagine the room. The fourth state we call positive, the positive body. If you have positive emotions, you are among friends, everyone loves you. But suddenly a problem arises, a problem. They call you from work. Hello, how are you? How's it going? Tomorrow we are going to load you with all the work and all the blame of so-and-so, the failure of the company. You are left speechless. You have received a problem that you now don't know how to solve. The intellect begins to function. The intellect can suddenly become, it remains in a negative state. The emotion is fine, it's smiling with friends, everything, but the intellect is killing you, and that also affects the emotions and the physical state. What happened to you that after receiving this call you are not playing soccer well? It's just that I'm fine really, but I'm very distracted. You lose concentration at work. In this state that we call the fourth state, the emotion is positive. The body is positive and the intellect is negative. We say A positive, B positive, C negative. So here, an emotional activity is fine, but the most important thing is to understand that this person cannot concentrate because their mind is elsewhere. The fifth state, which indicates that we are reaching very bad things. The fifth, we can say the fifth state in the emotional cycle is that you are tired and emotionally unwell. It means that at the end of a soccer game, you are tired and now there is a fight. You are tired and receive insults and you fight emotionally poorly. So the body is unwell, tired, and the emotion is also bad. At the end of the soccer game, we ended up in a fight, insulting each other. You felt offended, humiliated, I don't know. The intellect is fine. It doesn't have any serious problems to solve. You know that those insults don't have much depth. But sometimes the emotional state always affects the intellectual state. It means the intellect starts to think, oh, what has happened? Why did that happen? So many times, bodily negativity and emotional negativity will lead you to a state of intellectual negativity as well. It is very rare to say that you can feel this way, well concentrated, with the intellect functioning well, while only the emotions are negative. If many people allow negative emotions to dominate their intellect, then it means that their thinking also becomes negative. Very few people who have strong intellectual ability and have been able to develop their emotional intelligence can withstand. There is a problem, it has a solution, so don't worry. There are people who insult me, but it doesn't matter. Everyone knows that I'm not a son of a bag. That doesn't matter. Even if I've been offended, I will endure. That person has done something wrong, but I am going to forgive them, okay? If you master your emotions through intellect, it will reduce the fire. It will exterminate the fire, extinguish the fire in order to control negative emotions. In state 5, your body is very tired. In fact, it doesn't have enough strength to do any physical activity, nor are you prepared to engage in a physical activity, because many times physical activities will give you a positive feeling, a positive emotion. When you are running later, you feel good, you breathe deeply, and you are really cool. But when you are physically tired, emotionally terrible, negative, then the intellect will also be affected. State 5 is not a very stable state. Either negative emotions dominate the intellect, or the intellect dominates the negative state. One is struggling, and the emotion is fighting with the intellect in this state. Whenever one is positive, the other is negative. There is a struggle between emotion and intellect. There is always a struggle. When one is positive, one is negative. Let's look at state number 6. The 6th state that has a positive body, negative emotions, and a negative intellect. For example, one morning you wake up feeling fine physically, but your wife starts to complain, and at the same moment you receive gas bills, electricity bills, and the landlord says you haven't paid for 3 months and you have to pay rent, and just at that moment you get a call from your boss saying you're fired, goodbye. So it means horrible intellectual negativity, horrible emotional negativity. Now the body is fine. You have woken up on a very beautiful morning, but you are not well emotionally, intellectually. That is the moment of fighting. That is the moment when you will respond to every complaint with an insult. Why? Because if the intellect is acting recklessly, and if there is negative reasoning, everything will be pessimistic. All your thoughts, your view of the world, everything will be very negative. Your emotions will be negative. So that destroys you. You are not prepared to talk, to engage in dialogue, or for anything at all. It is time to distance yourself from social activities. First, you must think about how to resolve the intellectual problem, which means finding the solution to the problem that has occupied your mind. There it is. Solve the problem, and then control your emotions to return to a positive state. Emotional intelligence teaches you to return to a positive state. The 7th, that your body is tired and your intellect is occupied, the positive emotion. For example, suddenly you are thinking about problems you have had at work, like how tomorrow you are going to solve that problem, and you have come back home very, very tired. You open the door, the whole family says, "Happy birthday." And you feel very happy emotionally. The body is tired, the intellect is tired, but the emotion is very positive, familiar, and everything is really cool. And then positive emotions. Positive emotion is so strong, generally in the majority of people who are emotional, that emotion manages the intellect and the body. So you, who were so tired that you just wanted to go to sleep and honestly had no desire for anything, suddenly turn into a creature like an emotional being, cheerful and very happy. And the last state, which is the most horrible, is one that we generally do voluntarily. The occupied intellectual state, distracted, which means being preoccupied with a problem. Negative emotional state, negative intellect, negative emotion, and negative body. For example, if you come home very tired in the afternoon after work and have had many problems, like fights with your boss, at that moment you arrive home and find your mother-in-law complaining. You find your wife complaining, saying there is no money, asking what kind of husband you are, mentioning that she had other suitors whom she turned down to be with you, and now she is coming to complain. It will destroy everything. It means that the negative emotion, the negative intellect and nothing, and you don't have money to take her to a market, to pay, to buy, nothing, and now you are going to explode. That is the nuclear explosion of life, and it destroys everything. All the events that coincide with you at that moment are with you. You are going to destroy them. You are going to destroy all opportunities. You are going to destroy all friendships. You are going to destroy the relationship with your partner. Intellectual negativity, emotional negativity, bodily negativity. Well, in the next classes, we will learn how to manage negativity in life and turn the negative biological cycle, the negative emotional intellectual cycle, into a 100% positive life through effective practices. God bless you. A big hug. When you have heard that talk, you have the moral responsibility to share it with other brothers. We make the effort by creating videos, conducting classes, and you have that responsibility, brother. Each one of us can lend a hand. We can share positive teachings to have a positive life and a positive society. A big hug. 15 minutes for God. God is going to bless your life.